All right, so this is going to be a breakdown of a trade that I did on Tuesday, just this past Tuesday on July 9th. It was on gold, and we're going to be reviewing this setup that happened shortly after Powell's testimony. I believe we had Powell speaking at 10 a.m., and this setup was after news dropped here. So I'll go over the narrative here. I'm on the 4-hour. Again, it's on gold, and I'm looking at this imbalance here. So we reached into this 4-hour imbalance and displaced really nicely, creating a new gap. And in here, you can see that we did have a test of that 4-hour here. So we had this swing high formed at 2200, so 10 p.m. on Monday. But the following 4 hours, we did not follow through lower to complete this trade from internal to external. So instead, we ended up coming back up and sweeping this swing high. But before I get into this trade, I want to show you exactly why I was looking for a buy below this level. And it all has to do with how we delivered to this swing low. So I have a set of videos that I call quick tips, and I want to show you the one that really helped me take this trade with confidence. So I'll play that for you, and then we'll come back to this video. Trying to scare me to get out of the trade, but once I know where the algorithm is going, it's pretty much a done deal. Okay, this is a quick tip on imbalances. One thing to watch out for is if you have an imbalance that's been tested and does show follow through past external liquidity, one thing you want to watch out for is if that imbalance creates a new imbalance. All right, as you can see here, this imbalance was tested on the weekly, but did not show new displacement lower. Instead, price took out an old low and closed bullish back above that low. There is no new gap here. If you ever have that, one thing you can do is check the lower time frames for a sharp turn, which you can see here. As price took out that old low on the weekly, the daily shows us a bullish sharp turn. And this candle on Friday retested that. From here, if you ever see something like this, you can anticipate higher prices since there was no new displacement on the weekly. And you can see how that plays out here. So now that you've seen that, this is exactly the same type of setup as that trade or as that price action that I showed you in the quick tip. It's all about how we delivered down to this 4-hour external liquidity pool. So I'm just going to hit the play button here and show you after taking out the swing high that was inside the 4-hour imbalance here. You can see we basically just went down here with one candle. We created this long rejection here, and my entry came in down here. Well, a little higher, but let's hop to the lower time frames and I'll show you that. So I'm going to run the replay back again. And dropping down into the 5-minute, let's take a look at that delivery. You can see we take out the swing high. And at the time, after Powell's speech, I actually tried to buy this. I thought that this 5-minute gap would fail here. But it turns out that we basically did the same thing that we did on the 4-hour. After creating a swing high inside of this 5-minute gap, we came up, took it out, and then completed. But I wasn't paying attention that there was a 15-minute gap here. So I was trying to buy when price wanted to go lower, which is fine. My eyes were then on this 4-hour area. Okay. And as we get down here, all right, what I'm watching for is really for a couple things. I want to see any type of bearish argument get invalidated. I also want to look for any type of sharp turns or breaker blocks, right? So right now I have a couple things happening here. Underneath this low, we had this nice rejection candle. We also have a bearish argument right here. So this 5-minute imbalance is currently being reached into, right? So I'll draw that out. And then we also have this up close candle here, which could potentially be a bullish breaker. If we are to continue going higher, I can trade off of this or look for something along the lines of an inversion gap potentially here. So going forward, That's exactly what we get. We ended up getting this bullish breaker, and my limit, well, not my limit, actually, I think it was a market order, but I was looking at the high here. And so I set my entry near that level, and my stop was below, I think it was this swing low or this swing low. It was not all the way here, but I believe it was this swing low right here. And I was targeting that 4-hour high. All right. So again, we have the 5-minute breaker here. And so I'm watching these two down close candles. I'm looking for that to support price higher. All right. And here's the outcome. Price comes back, taps me into the trade. It does go a little deeper. Now, at this point, something really special happens. I could have gotten a second entry here, but I'm going to explain exactly what happens in this piece of price action right here. Take a look at this. As price is dropping back to my entry, on the 5-minute, we get a bearish imbalance here. Price reaches into that with one candle, and on the same candle it goes lower, forms a swing low here with these 3 candles. I'll draw that out. After creating this swing low, price pulls back as if it's gonna go lower. But watch what happens. The very next candle is a bearish candle that fails to go lower than this swing low, and then we get a new bullish candle closing above the bearish one. This is a change in state of delivery. So what exactly is changing here? We were heading lower in this price rundown, and now we're changing that state of delivery to go higher. So keep an eye on this bullish order block here. Price comes back, taps that bullish order block, and heads to the upside. So I'll pause it here and I'll go out to a higher time frame so we can see that delivery. So as I'm looking at this right now, now that we have a new expansion past the previous swing high, pay attention to these 3 down close candles. This is your bullish order flow. So even though we may get pullbacks in here, price should not go beyond these 3 down close candles and start going lower. Price should hold here, right? So you can see how price is coming back just shy of these 3 down close candles, consolidates a little bit, and then pushes higher. Same thing here. You have these 3 down close candles. Price comes into it, overlapping with the gap, and then pushes us to our target, which was back on the 4-hour. Okay, which was the high that went into the gap. So this was my trade, and I'll show you that recording here. So this is the 5-minute. And you can see there's my order on the breaker, my stop below that swing low. All right, I am tapped into the trade on the broker side. Experiencing some drawdown here, but remember, on the 5-minute, we've got price creating that sell side imbalance. Price goes into it, drops lower. We get the pullback, but this is where we get that bullish engulfing pattern, which is the change in state of delivery. And then price begins to slowly march up. All right, and this was a pretty long trade, so you'll see I kind of had a couple recordings put together in this, but there are those 3 down close candles on the 15-minute. That's what I want to see hold price. You can see we take out this swing high. This 15-minute swing high previously offered fair value. So this is where I would expect some type of pullback to happen. Simply because there's a order taking, profit taking happening above this high. And there could be some turbulence, and you can see that happen in the candlesticks here. And so again, I'm just being patient here. I have no reason to exit the trade because I have a pretty solid line in the sand. Again, it's these 3 down close candles. Price can pull back all the way to the bottom of this one and still be considered bullish in my eyes. So with price being up here, I feel pretty comfortable. Okay, so I'm looking at the 1 hour, and we're right on par to hitting the target. All right, you can see that there's a small 1 hour gap there, right in here. Price taps into that, and I believe I cut the recording off here, but I will show you the outcome of that trade. Just pull up my journal here, and that was the outcome here. So the buy side liquidity, which was that 4 hour level, was hit. And yeah, that was the trade. All this trade was based off of price running below a 4 hour swing low that did not create new displacement. So I'll probably try to do an in-depth lesson on that, just try to get the details to it. But nonetheless, it was a really nice trade, and I'm glad I was available to take it.